Good morning, YouTubers. Hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are being productive this weekend. And I obviously, as I say, I don't want to take you too far away from whatever music you're working on, but I do want to check in with you and see if there's any questions about sync licensing, TV film, music licensing in general that maybe I can help answer for you. I like to do these videos just to kind of check in with you guys, see really where you are. What are the sort of points of confusion or just really want to have more of a conversation with you guys rather than it always be I shoot a video, throw it out there. I don't feel like it's obviously as interactive as these cool live streams. And as much as this is going to help you guys to get your answers, your questions answered, it really helps me too because I'm looking at my YouTube. I usually upload quite a few videos before I put them up publicly. I like to have a lot in the can. But I was looking at my list the other day, and I'm getting down to the bottom where I have to now make a lot of new videos to kind of have some new content for my channel. So this is also going to really help me. The more that you guys can just really be honest about where you really are, confusion points, questions, anything like that. It really helps me populate a list of relevant topics that I can add to my video list of what I can actually put up here on the channel. Because again, it's sometimes hard for me to just guess what it is that you guys really want to learn. It's so much better when you just tell me directly. That way I know for sure at least a few of you have these questions, and so I know it's not going to fall on deaf ears and go, well, what is he talking about? We don't care about that, right? I want to make sure that everything that I do here on this channel really is relevant to you, really makes sense, and actually helps you get closer to wherever your goals might be in this business. So please don't be shy. Go ahead and put your questions, comments, anything in the chat box, and I'll be happy to answer anything that I possibly can. Do some shout outs here. Burn, good morning. God Science, Troy, Brian, Jermaine, Marshall. All right. Good morning, guys. You guys are my early birds here. I don't always send out an email invite to my mailing list about my live Q&As on YouTube. This one I did. So I'm just kind of curious to see if the numbers are much higher than usual. I think we usually get around 20, 30 people that join me for these live ones. So I'm kind of curious to see if that actually peaks the numbers quite a bit. So we'll see. Mac, good morning. Travis, good morning. Awesome, man. Travis is a superhero. He helped me out with a personal issue this week. So thank you, Travis, for that. I guess a business issue, but you know. Troy, all right. Let's see. Josian, Michael, good morning, guys. All right, looks like we got a couple of questions already, so I'll go ahead and get started on that. Burn, do 30-second alt mixes need stinger button endings, or do you recommend being more creative at the end? Yeah, usually you should still have the same hit definite ending, a button ending at the end of your 30-second mix. You don't want to have a fade out. I mean, you can obviously sometimes in some tracks have a final hit and then the last chord rings out for a second or two. A lot of times you'll find in your 30-second versions, you're going to have to actually dramatically shorten that fade out. You don't want to do it so much so it feels really unnatural, but just a little bit more can be done. But yeah, even if it's 30-second, 15-second stinger, usually you still want to have that boom, that hit definite ending. Usually you're going to want a kick, an impact of some sort, and a root chord or something that gives a nice resolution to your track. So no sort of like lingering kind of question mark endings that you can find a lot in artist music. In production music, you want it to be a much more definite sort of solid ending. All right. Well, definitely, Travis, what you guys do for my channel is just giving me questions. The more you guys give me questions, the more it gives me ideas for new videos and content. So it's a win-win for all of us here. Troy, do you ever hear back from the libraries on SyncEdge, feedback, etc.? You're talking about me personally. Do I hear back from libraries? I've heard from some of the libraries on SyncEdge, but I don't know if you mean by like a writer, maybe a member of SyncEdge submitting to one of those libraries. Certainly, a lot of them get accepted. And some of them, if they don't get accepted, will also be told, yeah, we're not really looking for that, or we're not looking for, we don't feel like your music is up to our standards. So I think that answers your question, hopefully. I'm not sure exactly what you're going with that one. All right. Patrick, good morning. Nocturnal Music, good morning. How does one create a sample pack for purchase? Create a sample pack for purchase. You mean like you want to sell your own sample packs? That wouldn't be something I could probably give you too much information on. It's not something I'm really in the business of doing. But if you can create samples, You create great high quality samples. You can either go partner with, like a Splice or Loop Masters or something like that, like one of these websites that already contains, they already have a large customer base. And I think if you're brand new to the space, that's probably the best way to go about it. I'm sure they're going to take their cut of hosting your samples. You can get your own website built, but man, then it's a full-time job to get marketing and social media presence. It's just a lot of work. So if you don't want to go down that path full time, I probably wouldn't recommend doing that. I would just reach out to maybe some, more established sample pack providers, see if you can just partner with them. David, good morning. Ad Wheels, good morning. Bold City Records. Do most libraries prefer MP3 downloads or links to websites? Great question. Unless they specifically ask you, like a library says, send us attached files, never send anything attached, okay, unless they ask for that. You're an unknown supplier, you're an unknown person to them, so they don't want to download anything that might have a virus on it, or they just don't want to take up space on their computer or their phone. So always link directly to a site. And I personally think you should do your own personal site. I don't think sending it to SoundCloud or, like a YouTube playlist or something like that. It's not like you can't get a deal if you do that, but it's a difference between putting on a suit and tie to a interview and just putting on a regular t-shirt when you walk in to apply for a job. So which one do you think has the better impression? And really, a lot of times you get one impression to really make your mark with some of these companies. So if you're not aware, I do have an entire tutorial on my channel here, how to build your own website in 1 hour. And I give you a little discount if you use my affiliate link with Wix. It's with Wix.com. So just go on my channel after this and type in website 1 hour, and you'll find my tutorial. Literally 1 hour, you can have the whole thing done. I went through this business for the first 3 or 4 years without my own website. And when I finally did it, I was just like kicking myself for why I didn't do it in the beginning. It does something to you psychologically as well, just to have your own custom domain, your own personal way. It's like, if you're going to be a professional in this, why not treat yourself to a little bit of professionalism and make yourself look like a professional? Not like, all right, here's my free email address that I use. Here's my free SoundCloud link that, I'm not paying for anything. I don't want anything to look like it's actually customized and really a personal or professional presentation. I'm just using all the free stuff. It's something, it just kind of like elevates your own sense of professionalism. It just did that for me when I finally got my website up and running. So, and it's easy, guys. These days, like, artificial intelligence will basically create your website for you. And in my tutorial, I actually use that. It's super fast. So, all right. It's going to be lost a little bit here. Daniel Dobrens, good morning, man. Good to hear from you, man. Rob Green, Michael. All right, got the email right in time. Cool. When we this is from Jermaine. When we contact the library, should we send them links to playlists? Yeah, I would say you have a full album ready to go. These days, I'm recommending my students go full 10 to 12 tracks. 2 to 3 tracks used to be something that could probably get your foot in the door. Probably still could, but if you want a solid foot in the door, have a full album ready to go. Have it exclusively available to be licensed by them, and have a playlist of all the tracks on your personalized website. So yeah, and having a direct link to that's a good idea. Brian, do you know of any other services like TuneSet that are out there? It's so freaking expensive. Yeah, for their paid one, they do have quite a large one. And obviously, they're more geared towards the larger libraries out there that have tens of thousands of tracks that they need to keep track of all that. That's the only one that I'm aware of. Maybe somebody in the chat can point us out. We're kind of a think tank here. So if somebody has another service out there that can track TV placements, put it in the chat. Maybe we can all be benefiting from that. Ad Wheels. So should we be creating 30-second samples with intro, outro punch? You're talking about like a 30-second alt mix? Yeah, it should have an intro. Sometimes you can just go right into the music. Sometimes you can just have a drum fill, and same thing with the outro. You want to have that definite ending for sure. Rob, cool if you could put together a video on different endings. That's definitely coming in Sync Academy, at least. I can't guarantee it'll be here on my YouTube channel. But in Sync Academy, I have now a list. Thanks to a lot of you guys. If you're in Sync Academy and you filled out my customer service survey the other day, thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I obviously kept that anonymous to make sure that you could be completely honest with how you're feeling about the Academy and what you want to see improved. And there were some really awesome, great suggestions for how to improve, and also some great tutorial ideas. And I definitely, like, when I see these things, and I got like probably 80 or 90 of them back, if I start seeing duplicate requests for the same thing, I know that there's a large number of you guys that really want that stuff. Definite endings is certainly one of the ones that's on the list. So that one's certainly coming in the coming weeks for sure. Troy, to clarify, do they reach out to you and say enough submissions or more submission or more of a picture? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Troy. If you can maybe have a complete, more complete question there. I'm not sure. It didn't make sense to me. Burn, what would you do if you were getting lots of placements for a library with no upfront money, and then a second library started asking for the same type of tracks but pays $50 per track upfront? Getting lots of placements. Well, I mean, if I'm happy with what I'm getting with my current library and they're keeping me busy enough, I mean, there's a lot of information there that we don't have, though. Like, how much money are we getting with these placements? Are we getting 3 cents? We got 3,000 3-cent placements. Okay, that's not exactly something that you can be exactly excited about. So that might be a reason why I'd go, hey, these guys are paying me a little bit up front. Maybe I should start to maybe 50-50 this, right? Still keep a little bit going with these guys because they're getting me something, but maybe I'll dip my toe in the waters over here. So you need a little bit more information before you can make that choice. Mark, you got a placement on an episode of MTV The Challenge, War of the Worlds last week. Almost 2 minutes of music. Is that common? Actually, not really. In my royalty checks, most of my placements are probably under 20 seconds. Usually it's 10, 15, 20 seconds, sometimes 2, 3. I mean, very little. Once in a while, I'll get these longer ones. But no, that's actually it's not very common at all to get your tracks up to about 2 minutes, which is really good though. That means you have very licensable music. That means that somebody loves your music and they placed it all the way throughout, or they probably maybe copy and pasted a big chunk of it. And usually those longer placements are obviously going to land you bigger checks. So congrats, man. That's really cool. Jermaine, is there a company that capture the exact moments when your music is played for a TV show? That's what we were talking about. TuneSat, it's not going to capture the exact moment as far as a timestamp, but it'll let you know which TV show your music aired on. But I'm not sure of one that'll actually show you. I mean, what you're basically talking about is a cue sheet, and that's what a production company is going to put together and submit to ascap BMI. So no, and usually you and I, producers, we're not going to get our hands on those kind of things. So usually not. Let's see, where are we at here? I just lost my place. Okay. Can you work with more than one library at a time? Great question, Mark. Absolutely, as long as they are, well, actually, you're just asking about working with more than one library. Yes. If they're exclusive, you just can't send the same music to both of them. You can't send 10 exclusive tracks over here and then turn around and send those same 10 tracks to this other exclusive company. Okay, that's what you can't do. But if you have 10 tracks with this company and then 10 exclusive tracks with this company, no problem. You can work with you're a freelancer, right? So asking a freelancer not to work with anybody else, ridiculous, right? You can work with anybody you want to, but you just got to respect the exclusivity of the licensing contracts that you sign. If they're non-exclusive companies, you can send the same tracks to two non-exclusive companies because they're non-exclusively distributing your music and they accept that. All right, Incognito, if I still want to put my music out as a producer consistently in licensed instrumentals, how would I manage that so I can maximize both? Well, basically, it sounds like what you're going to probably have to do is go the non-exclusive route with music libraries, because a lot of exclusive libraries won't want a lot of your music out there to the public. Not all of them. Some of them, you tell them, hey, I want to let you exclusively distribute my tracks for the TV film world, but I still want to have my tracks on iTunes and on my social media and stuff. Some of them will be like, okay, cool, we like your music enough, we're okay with that. Some of them will say, absolutely not. You either got to choose us or you got to choose your artist thing. So it sounds like if you really have a foot in your artist-producer world, you probably need to go the non-exclusive route, where libraries who are non-exclusive, they have no claim to say you can't distribute your music in other places. It's non-exclusive by definition, right? This is an interesting question. UFO 99, do you have to be a good businessman, entrepreneur to be successful in this industry? I got quality productions, but I don't have a great sense of business. Yes and no. You don't need to be, a Mark Cuban to be successful in this industry. Common sense goes a long way. Being a nice person that's just fun to work with, meeting your deadlines, answering requests on a timely manner, being just amicable and likable. That's pretty much what's going to get you through the door, because life is short. People don't want to, even if you're the best and most talented producer, people don't want to work with you if you're a jerk and you're just a headache and you're a nightmare and you're high maintenance, right? Nobody wants to work with people like that. So it's not so much that you have to be this just, absolute shrewd businessman. That's not really necessary. You just have to have the common sense to basically just be a nice, decent person that wants to consistently crank out music and serve the needs of your customers and of your clients, which will be music libraries. So if you can get out of the artist sort of narcissistic mode where it's like, well, it's all about me and whatever I want to do, if you can get out of that and then turn it into a service-oriented mindset, you could be a killer. You could be a monster in this business. Are orchestral hybrids mostly limited to rock and hip hop? No, I've actually heard some orchestral ones. I've heard some indie ones. I've heard very stripped down minimal ones. There's all different types that usually those are the more popular ones for sure. Hip hop and rock do go well with orchestral stuff. That was from Guyman. Tony, good morning. All right. Some of these are kind of repeat questions, so I'm going to just kind of go through until I find a new one. What if you have a BeatStars Pro page? Is that considered okay as your own domain? I don't know what it looks like in the domain if it says beatstars.com/your name or something like that. I'm not saying, again, it's not that you can't get contracts, you can't get something when you're using another domain. It absolutely is possible, but when music libraries are being submitted and approached by hundreds of producers, you don't want to have anything working against you, right? You want to stack all the odds of success in your favor. And so the best way to have the best professional appearance and first impression on somebody is have your own custom domain. So I'm not exactly sure the BeatStars situation there, though. All right. Okay, Michael, how long should I wait after submitting to a library if I don't hear back from them? I recommend 2 weeks, usually maxed, just to kind of get the first response from them. If they still don't get anything to you in 2 weeks, send them one follow-up email forwarding your original email and just say, just wanted to make sure, did you guys get this? Did you not get this? Wanted to give you guys one last chance, sort of like the right first refusal, I think that's the phrase, to let them have first dibs at your music. And if they pass, and after that point, I would give them maybe just one more week. So it's basically 3 weeks total. And if they're still not getting back to you in 3 weeks, they're either too busy or they're just not interested or whatever the other reasons might be. But yeah, you don't need to be sitting on a library for months and months. I think 3 weeks is plenty of time. Mark says, I've had libraries tell me they see detections placements through source audio. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. I'm not sure about that scenario. Hold on 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. All right, maybe it was 5 seconds. I lied a little bit. See where are we at here. Joshua, I want to sign up with BMI and Songtrust, then reach out to production libraries, as well as upload to social media. Should I be covered with receiving all my royalties with these two companies? Well, in terms of TV, film, and radio royalties, performance royalties, BMI will certainly get you covered. Songtrust, I need to do some further research on Songtrust to find out exactly. That's a great, see, again, you guys are giving me topics and video ideas, so I will do a more detailed research on that before I speak on Songtrust. I'm not exactly sure. I have a vague idea of what they do, but I want to make sure I know what I'm talking about before I say something. So, but yeah, for sure with TV, film, BMI, that's all you need. People always ask, what about Harry Fox? What about this? What about that? Do I need, the IRSC codes for sales? Those are for selling tracks. So if you're selling music and you need to get a unique UPC code for those sales, that's what you're going to need that for. In the licensing business, we don't sell our tracks, we license them, right? So it's a completely different system. So you usually don't have to deal with those mechanical royalties in this side of the business. Some libraries will, however, then take their catalog or a portion of their catalog and make it available for sale through iTunes or Amazon Music or something like that, and then that's when. But they'll probably deal with that. Because they're going to be distributing the music, so they're going to take care of those codes and all that stuff. All right. All right. Here we go. Dave says he's making a smoothie right now. I've been drinking them since you put that video up. Awesome. You guys should check that out. If you know that you want to increase your veggie intake a little bit, or you just know that you should probably be eating a little healthier, that one green, the video was called like the weird green veggie shake, something, one weird thing that I do to be healthy. I don't even remember what it was called, but you just type in like veggie shake or green drink. I think that's what I call it. What this weird green drink that I drink. It's like one thing you can do in the day that will like boost your energy, make you feel better, and get all those sort of vitamins, nutrients, minerals, all that good stuff that, let's be honest, guys, we really just don't get it because we don't like to. I mean, I certainly don't like to cut up a bunch of vegetables and cook them and stuff. So I like to just throw them all into one blender, into one drink, and just down the whole thing like a superfood. Definitely check that out. I'm glad you're doing it, Dave. That's cool. Okay, Greg, you didn't get the survey. I did post it probably 2 or 3 days ago, so you can go look through the feed or just look at the very top in Sync Academy. There's a filter called From Your Host. You can only see activity from the host, which is me. I'm the host, and that's one quick way you can go find it. And it's still open, and I still would love to hear people's suggestions and what you guys think about the platform. Troy, okay, so you're clarifying. You list new libraries on Sync Edge monthly. Yes, 2 new every month. I'm wondering if you ever hear back. I'm a little worried about ending up bothering a library that may be receiving a bunch of submissions from Sync Edge. I've never gotten an email from any. I think I still don't understand what this is, but I've never got an email from any library through Sync Edge that says, "Hey, stop recommending us. We're getting too many submissions." If that's your question, no, never gotten that. Usually, libraries are not that worried about getting too many submissions. What they're just looking for is high quality submissions. Okay, and usually, what I find from the few libraries that I have worked with and I have recommended that have reached out to me and we've talked. They've said nothing but like great things about what I'm doing, because what I'm doing is basically preparing you guys to work with them on a more professional level, to basically be, first of all, informed and knowledgeable about how this business really works. A lot of producers, when they don't know what's going on in this industry, they jump in and then they're like, "Oh, I thought I could keep everything. I didn't know that you guys were going to do this. I didn't know that, I had to sort of have you guys take my publishing." So there's a lot of confusion for a lot of newbies in this industry. So that's the first thing that they really appreciate, is that like at least somebody's out here kind of doing the sort of groundwork to get people ready for what this business really is about, and to set your expectations in the right place. And also getting rid of the flakes, because there's a lot of people that think, "I'll just send one album to this library, I'll get my huge theme placement and I'm done." So obviously, everybody here watching, you guys know that that's not how this business works. So I've only heard really positive things from the libraries that I've recommended and that I've worked with. They really like that there's just an educational platform out here that's helping you guys get ready to work with them, because the more prepared and obviously the higher quality your tracks are, the more licensable they are, they make more money, and then you make more money, and everybody's winning on that. So I think that's your question, if I understand it. All right, Travis, as someone who takes a means to an end approach to a well-paying job, do you have any advice for protecting music time from encroaching work obligations? Got a promotion, good. Well, congrats on the promotion, Travis. I mean, that's a big topic. I would say, and I know probably you, Travis, you've seen the time management video I did with Sync 60. It's still available in Sync Academy. It's actually still here on my YouTube channel, so maybe revisit that one. It's really about, I mean, exactly what you said. The answer is in your question where you said protecting music time. That's really what it is. You have to guard it. So yes, you've got bills to pay, you've got a job, you've got a family to raise. So I know you have a lot of obligations. But at the end of the day, it's just we're adults and we have responsibilities and choices. And then with each choice we make, there's pros and cons. So you just have to make that choice to say, yes, music production, TV, film music production is a priority in my life. It's not the only one. You have other things you got to do, but it is a priority, and it's in your top list, right? It's up there, and things that you need to make sure that you are making time for. So you kind of have to consciously do that. And then, of course, step two is you got to get the family on board. You got to get everybody that you live with basically on board, or anybody that you interact with on a consistent basis. Obviously, I don't think your boss is going to be on board. And you know, you sort of use common sense with that, how much you want to tell people that you're working with, how much your other obligations are taking your attention, right? But it just comes down to scheduling and making those choices, right? There's just going to be certain choices you're going to have to make. You might have to make sacrifices here and there. There is no sort of like, how do I touch a button and have 1,000,000 hours a week and be able to do everything I want? I mean, that's an unrealistic thing, and we all kind of know that. And obviously, I know you know that, Travis. So it's just a choice. You know, you just got to make that choice. How much are you willing to sacrifice? If you spend more time in the studio, guaranteed you're going to sacrifice something. Could be family time, could be work, it could be, I mean, there's going to be something, right? It's a zero-sum game. So find that happy balance, something that can be consistent where your family's still on board with it. They're not feeling like they're neglected. You're not losing your job. You're not jeopardizing what you need to do. So, you know, it's very individualized, so I can't really do that. I can't give you specific advice on that. So, Trevor, good morning, man. Rice Beats. Hey, Jesse, my tracks have been in the library for 5 months, but none have shown up in BMI. Is this normal? Are they supposed to be registered when used? Talk to your library. I always tell everybody, if it's been a month or two and you haven't seen the tracks show up, talk to your library and ask them, do you guys register these tracks before they get placed, or do you wait till they get placed before you do the batch placements? Always talk to them. The more that you know about their process, the less you're going to feel this uneasiness. Because, yeah, 5 months is a long time, but if they're one of the libraries that doesn't register until you get placements, okay, then that basically is telling you don't have any placements, right? So you can do deductive reasoning on that. So, but talk to them. Just send an email and find out what their answer is. All right, Guyman. If two non-exclusive libraries have the same tracks and one of the libraries want any of them exclusively, would I withdraw those tracks from the non-exclusive? Yes, but you got to look at your contract. There's probably going to be some sort of a clause. Even in a non-exclusive one, you probably can't just grab it at any point. They're probably going to have some sort of like, you got to give us 30-day notice, or maybe they'll say we need to non-exclusively host these for 2 to 3 years. So obviously it's case dependent, but depending on the contract that you signed. So follow those instructions. But then, yeah, if you wanted to have this one library turn it into an exclusive one, then you'd have to make that choice and let them know, hey, it's not available yet. I've got to wait for a year for them to let go of it, or whatever it is, right? So you just got to be sort of the middleman between that. Trevor, good morning, man. Mike Ocean, hey, mate. Setting up a website and offering custom music services for a set fee, depending on the size of the project. With exclusive libraries, be okay with this? As long as it's all original music, you're not like, let's say you submitted 10 exclusive tracks to this library, you can't then go offer those 10 tracks to your clients, right? As long as you're not violating a contract, have at it. You know, you can have your own custom, you know, sort of boutique sort of music production service. Absolutely. Josian, if a show takes your track and uses only 10 seconds of it, but loops it for that 1 minute, would it count as 1 minute as far as royalties go? Absolutely. Ding, ding, ding. So it doesn't matter what parts of the track or anything. They don't analyze it to the point of like, well, this is only 10 seconds. No, they just look at the whole track, whatever was used of it. So yeah, if it's just 10 seconds looped, you know, tons of times, you're getting whatever that final time amount would be. So Martin, good morning. All right, where are we at here? I'm falling further and further behind. I'm trying to catch up. LD, what's up, Jesse? Are there any cases where a composer bypasses the library and get to the music supervisors directly? Absolutely. Yeah, it could definitely happen. It's just not very common because music supervisors usually want to have a large collection of tracks that they have access to, right? So that's why they like to a lot of times work with established libraries. So some of them, obviously, if there's like a band they really like and they want to get their tracks, they might work out directly with them. Most of the time, they're going with a library, though, because they want to have a sort of like just large collection of stuff that they can select from. Michael, is there any reason not to live stream our creative process? I produce bands and it would be helpful if I could, but I realize exclusive nature of sync deals. Yeah, with your exclusive licensing partners, maybe you could live stream it before you submit it to the library, but the minute that it's in their hands, I would take that off. It's just going to be potential problems for you down the road. I mean, you can talk to them and say, hey, I'm doing this on my social media. Do you have a problem with me kind of live streaming some of this stuff? Or maybe you work it out with them where you only live stream the unmixed version of the track, you know, where you haven't applied the mastering or something like that. So you could talk to them about that, but you're getting into shaky territory. So just definitely talk and ask permission for sure from the library. So. All right, Martin says Song Trust gets your music registered with PROs. If you're having problems registering with PRO, Songtrust gets through very efficiently. Um, you can directly upload your tracks on BMI or ASCAP's website registering. So I'm not sure exactly again what their service is in that. Again, I don't know much about Songtrust, so I'm gonna have to go do my research before I comment more. But yeah, I've registered tracks many times through BMI and ASCAP. It's just literally an online portal you can do it through. So let's see, G the J, interesting name. Do libraries, I think, after offer exclusive deals, allow you to showcase the tracks for them in your website portfolio? Oh, do libraries that offer exclusive deals allow you to showcase the tracks that you gave to them in your website portfolio? Usually yes, but again, same thing, ask them. You might have to cut them down to like a 30-second demo, not the full track that they had available. But definitely, again, it's always transparency and directly communicating with your licensing partners is always the best method, okay? No matter what I say, no matter what anybody says in terms of the information or advice about how to navigate this industry, always just be in direct contact with your libraries, with the people that you're doing business with. Because again, you're there to serve them. Okay, you're not there to impress. You're not here to impress me. You're not here to impress anybody else. You're here to make their lives easier and follow their instructions. So always just reach out and ask. Tom's asking about switching from BMI to ASCAP. Is it worth the effort to switch? You got to make that choice. I've heard stories from people that say their ASCAP TV placements are better than the BMIs because they've seen this sort of split rider situation where one rider's on BMI, one rider's on ASCAP, and they can look at which one's making more. I personally, in my life, just telling you guys transparently, I was with ASCAP, and then I heard from stories from a couple of people in the industry that BMI pays a little bit better especially for the instrumental placements. And I saw some evidence of that from other people's royalty checks that yes, this person on BMI was making more than the ASCAP rider. So I made that switch back in 2012, and you know, I've definitely have seen a big jump in growth in my royalties, but also it's because I've grown my catalog significantly since 2012. So I think it's worth it. Personally, just my 2 cents. Again, you got to make your own choice on that. And you can also do your due diligence. If you look on YouTube and find, you know, people comparing ASCAP and BMI, you'll probably hear literally maybe 50-50. It's like, it seems like some people say that yes. It's really hard to judge like scientifically because a lot of this stuff is really hard to completely weigh apples to apples. So if you're happy with ASCAP, stay with ASCAP. There's no reason to switch. If you're not happy with ASCAP, maybe look into switching to BMI. Humble Trader, would the royalty stream dry up to a trickle after a couple of years if someone stopped creating new tracks? The chances are yes. Once you stop creating, then you'll probably see a decline in your royalties, but it's not necessarily true because you might be getting, as I just showed in my video, I think it was a month ago, that this track that I produced, I think it was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, got me a new placement. It was over $1,500 for one placement, one track, and I think it was I think it was 15 seconds, whatever it was. It was very short. So you can find a situation where, yeah, maybe you do it for a couple of years, you go to sleep, you don't do much, and then 2-3 years later, you get this massive check. So you could grow sort of passively, very passively, and sort of just your track was in the right place at the right time, you know, many years down the road. But that's why I do feel that this is sort of a 401k plan where you don't want to just hope that that's going to always happen. You want to consistently build your catalog. So you're kind of growing the investment portfolio, right? So as you see it grow, and even as it's growing, you can still have those sort of throwback placements. You know, a 10-year ago track you have, boom, boost you up even higher. So you're stacking all the odds of success in your favor by continuously building your catalog. Trevor, orchestral trailers. I noticed many start quiet, slow, and many end the same way. Many of certain libraries are really quite boring. What's with that? Do these things sell or should it be avoided? Usually, I mean, if you're submitting to a library and they have orchestral trailer music, you should emulate what you're hearing in there because those are the tracks they've accepted. Sometimes they've paid for quite handsomely, and they're obviously shopping them to their clients. So those should be your reference tracks. So if you're hearing that most of the sort of structure there is slow build, epic build at the end, and then hit impact at the end, definitely don't try to reinvent the wheel. I would definitely follow that. That's certainly what you should do. I mean, in terms of boring, I don't know. I mean, I don't think a structure can be boring. I think music can be boring, right? So you can have this similar structure through all these different tracks, but if the music is boring, yeah, then that's not good. So don't make boring music. But the structure, I think you when you use reference tracks, definitely fall in line with them. It's a really good idea. All right. Eric Hood music. Have you approached to do a movie score? Yes, I did an indie one years ago. If you were approached to do a major movie, would you do it? And do you think you are prepared since you do TV film licensing? Personally, no. I don't think I'm prepared to do a major movie. I'm not an orchestral producer. I don't have those skills, those chops. So I don't think that I would be ever considered for something like that. So I know my lane. My lane is in the TV film production music world, which is different than straight up composing. But yeah, I did do an indie film years ago. Part of it was really fun. Part of it was a nightmare. If it got approached to me again right now, what I would probably rather do, because I did all of it myself before, I would get a team of producers with me. I would just go hire a couple of guys, and we would do it as a team. Because doing an entire film by yourself is just it's a lot of work, and it's also very stressful to be working with a director who's giving sometimes one note and then the next note he gives you is conflicting, and it's like contradictory to what you just did with the track. So there's a lot of things about that side of the business that for me it probably doesn't work for my skill set and with just, I don't know, my temperament, I guess. But yeah, I like the side that I'm on now. It's so much simpler, so much clearer. I think the communication works out so much better on this side of the business for me. I mean, some people like the other side too. So all right. All right, Travis, still holding out for that 100-hour metric day. I know. We'll get there one day. Jermaine, never submitted to a library. What would be some good advice for a newbie? So if you haven't gone through my free 5-day course, go through that. Just go to syncmymusic.com. You'll see it at the very top. There's a big button you can press to get on it. That's basically the first thing that I would say if you haven't done that. Once you go through that, you're going to understand exactly what a library is, what their job is, what their role is, and what your job is going to be as a music producer. Because I think a lot of people don't understand what they are. They see them as like record labels, and so they're submitting to them as record, like, oh, I want to get signed, and then you're going to help me get established, and you're going to put me whatever and get me all this. Publicity. That's not. They're not like record labels at all. They have a completely different thing. So definitely go through the free course. You'll learn a lot about that. Are there pros and cons to copywriting tunes in batches as a collection of songs versus individual copyrighted songs? I have a couple of videos about copyrights on my channel, Michael. I don't want to get into the details of that here, but definitely check out some of my. If you just type in copyright on my channel, you'll see it. Let's see. Garrett, I know someone who was giving me a chance to release with a library that he works with. Release with a library that he works with. He said there will be a standard splits, but it's not collaboration. What would be a standard split? Okay, it's not a collaboration. I did a video about this, Garrett. Please watch it. And I think I said something like writers taking 50% of your share or something like that. And I did a whole video basically about how I'm not a fan of this, that somebody just works with, they're not like somebody who's getting music directly into a TV show. It sounds like you're talking about just a composer, a producer, like me, that works with a library, and they're saying, oh, give me your tracks, I'll send them to my library, but I'm taking, and usually what they're going to ask for, believe it or not, is 50% of your writer's share. And like you said, they're not collaborating with you. They're not co-writing with you. They're literally taking about 5 minutes, zipping up your file, sometimes not even zipping it up, just like taking whatever you sent them and forwarding it right to their contact. Okay, if that's what you want them to do, that's a finder's fee, right? Because all they're doing is forwarding something on and connecting you with somebody. What's a finder's fee? 10% usually across all industries. So if they're asking for half of your paycheck and all they did was one phone call, I'd skip it. I personally would. Unless it's a library, you feel like I can't get into this library otherwise. There's really no way I can get into this. Maybe you want to consider a big cut like that, but you can go directly to libraries. You don't need to go through these deals. When I see these kind of things, I'm just like, it's a joke. I mean, you really, to give up half of your paycheck for somebody to make one phone call, come on, give me a break. Netter, can you please help me guide to where I can get my tracks mastered? You can get your tracks mastered in your studio, and I do recommend you start learning how to do exactly that, because you probably don't have the money, most people don't have the money to shell out 150, 100 bucks or more every time you have a track done. Plus, it slows down the whole process. You got to send your tracks to a mastering engineer. What if they're busy for the month? You can't get your tracks done. Don't do that. Just learn how to master your tracks yourself. Sync Academy has plenty of tutorials to teach you how to do that in a very practical, simple, step-by-step way. So check out Sync Academy if you want to learn more about that. And just so you guys know, I've never paid for a dime for anybody to mix or master any of my music ever in this business. I've done 100% myself, okay? Am I a professional mixing and mastering engineer? I do have a degree in recording arts, but am I established in this way? No, not at all. I'm just me, right? But my tracks are good enough because I get accepted by libraries and I get TV placements, right? We don't need to become audio snobs in this industry, and that's another pet peeve of mine when people get so into the details of like, well, no, this wasn't professionally mixed or professionally mastered, so it's not high quality. And please save it, okay? I don't like snobs like that. I'm not interested in that kind of stuff. Is it moving me? Is it giving me some emotional chills? Is it well produced? Is it sound at least loud enough to be competitive with other tracks in this industry? Are you supplying the alt mixes and the stems and all that kind of stuff? And are you obviously nailing the brief? Cool. You're good. Nobody's going to ask you where your tracks were mixed, where they were mastered. Did you produce this in an professionally acoustically treated room? Because kind of sound, no. It's binary, guys. It's, I like this track, this is cool and useful, or not really for us. That's as simple as it is. You don't need to think about it more than that. You do need to make high quality music, of course, but you don't need to overanalyze this stuff. And certainly save your money. Don't go pay for a bunch of mixing and mastering services. It's just not needed. Demo tracks on the website, I would say it depends on if you're submitting like a full album. I would have just the full tracks there. So demo tracks, I don't know. I'm kind of getting away the idea of like putting together a demo for a library. I used to think that was the better way to go about it earlier on, but I think now in this industry it's getting a little bit more saturated, and I think the better way to really, for you guys to stand out, is just to have the full album ready to go and play them all. Put them all on your website. For streaming, of course. Creative 3, facts. 2 of my tracks from 2017 just got placed on an episode of 2020. There you go. So that's a 2-year-old track. Just got a new placement. Casey, about to finish track 10, launch website, submit to library. So I need to put a full 10 new tracks on my site to replace the ones that get accepted. Yeah, so if you got tracks that are accepted, definitely take them off. I would take them off your website right away, and then you can start building on your next album if you're going to submit to a new library, of course. If you're directly working with a library, you don't have to keep putting it on your website to say, hey, check out my new one. You can if you want to do that, but you can also probably just send them a direct link to download. Now that you have a relationship with them, you can just send them maybe the MP3 mixes, right? Not a huge file, but zip up the 10 MP3s and let them preview what you got for them. Dane, hey Jesse, when are you having a sale on your library directory? I have never had a sale on my library directory, so I'm probably not going to have one anytime soon. So I'm sorry about that, Dane. I usually don't discount my products and services. Why? Because they work and they're high quality and they're really good stuff. So I don't discount stuff that's worth it. And my services, products, I stand by them and they're worth it. So, Trevor, you mentioned uploading tracks to a PRO. I'm a SoCan, being in Canada, and I don't require music uploads. No, we're not, sorry if I misspoke. We're not uploading our music to BMI or ascap. I'm just saying you can directly register your tracks. You're just putting metadata into their system. But again, you usually don't do that as the composer in this side of the business. Usually the libraries are going to handle that. You need to log in and double check and make sure they do get registered. But no, when you log into SoCan, you should be able to just see a list of your tracks that have been registered to you, crediting you as the writer. SSDK, looking to get involved, and I'm wondering if royalty free is something I should start at an entry level. It's absolutely not a bad idea as an entry level. If you just kind of want to start to get your foot in the door of learning how to produce, licensable music, production music. Even though royalty free is a different thing, it still is in a way production music. I just don't think in the long run you're going to see the kind of income levels, part-time, full-time, that you probably really want through royalty free. You want those back-end recurring passive income performance royalties, and you can only get those through TV, film, and radio placements. So. Yeah. Brad, long time no see as well. All right, guys. I got about, let's see, how long have we been going here? about 45 minutes. We'll go for about an hour here, guys. So we're coming to the end here. Brian, wow, he just got his first TV placement. Congrats, man. I just found out through TuneSet. How long does it generally take before the cue sheets are submitted? It depends, but usually they're going to submit those cue sheets as soon as the TV show is done in production, well before it airs. You do have times where people have lagged on that, or they had an intern that was supposed to turn in the cue sheet and then they forgot to, and then they have to go back and turn it in. So, but usually that's like one of the last things that's like, okay, we got the show edited, we've got the sound sweetened and mixed, we got added the music and all that kind of stuff, and then they have a checklist of like, send in the cue sheets, do this, do that. So usually they do that before the thing is about to air. They slate it for air. So congrats though, man. That's a huge thing to get your first placement. I remember how that felt. So I hope you're motivated by that. Juror, no, exclusive versus non-exclusive. I've got many videos on my channel about that. So go ahead and look up those terms on my channel afterwards. You'll find my takes on those. Michael, can I repurpose my band's music instrumentally to be licensable, but still submit the original version with the vocals? Could this conflict with exclusive agreements and the music is released? Yeah, again, you got to talk to your libraries. So if they're saying we want exclusive rights to distribute your music, you have to tell them on day one, this music is available out there in the public, and we allow people to download it and to watch it and enjoy it on YouTube or wherever it is. So just talk to them about that. Repurpose my band's music instrumentally to be licensable, but submit the original version with the vocals. I'm kind of confused by the question. I sort of get what you're saying there, though, but don't get it. Just don't. I'm not saying you're doing this, but just for everybody watching, don't get sneaky where you're like, all right, I've got these 10 songs that are on iTunes that I'm making a little bit of money on. What I'll do is I'll just strip the vocals off, remix all of it, and then I'll submit these as brand new tracks to an exclusive library and then never tell them. That's what I mean. Don't get sneaky like that. And I'm not saying you're doing that, but for anybody who might be getting that idea, I know people who have repurposed, remixed, changed things up, or even not even did that, just stripped off vocals off of their band's tracks and then submitted them to a library and didn't tell them. It can cause big problems down the road, because if this library assumes they have exclusive rights to this music, and then one of their clients go, hey, by the way, this music that you're saying you exclusively have, I can go buy it. It's over here. I can, there's all these other places to get that track. Puts the library in a really compromised position. So it makes them look bad. It makes them look ineffectual and kind of, like they don't know what's going on in their own catalog. So they're going to come right back on you and put all that blame on you. So just don't get sneaky with that kind of stuff. Just be 100% transparent. Joseph Lander, I don't think much about it. I've checked it out before. It's kind of interesting. You just basically put your track up there and it does this sort of quick algorithmic mastering job. Honestly, I think you should just learn how to master your own tracks. Save the money again. It's a joyful, great part of making music. And mastering, I think people think mastering means, oh, that's when the track sounds good. Like the track sounds terrible all the way into the point where you master. Now, if that's how you're mastering, or you think mastering is that, you're doing it wrong, okay? So mastering is just, I think of it as just like adding some sprinkles on top of a cake. Most of the cake is baked. It all looks good. I want some little embellishments here and there. I want a little bit on the top just to kind of add some color and some sort of richness to it. That's it. So it's not a massive endeavor, where you have to really dig into, years and years of getting into this art form to make it sound better. Obviously, you can see with Lander that they're using an algorithm to do this stuff. Okay, so it's not rocket science. But I just personally don't think going to those kind of services is necessary. I think you should challenge yourself to do it yourself. Just my opinion, though. Garrett, is a Muse a bad way to go if you want your demo album? I don't know what a Muse is, actually. Let me check out a Muse later, too. So sorry about that, Garrett. I'm not familiar with a Muse. I'm guessing it's some sort of a service. Jack, FYI, I've gotten a lot of placement through a middleman producer who had a relationship with Boone and Murray. They took 20%. Now, since they are not asking for more tracks, I'm back at square one. Okay. So I guess that's kind of a cautionary tale there. That, yeah, if you're always going through a middleman, if your middleman's gone, you're gone too. So sorry to hear that, man. I'm glad you got some placements, but that is the risk that you run by doing those kind of deals. So let's see. Thoughts on BeatStars, alternative ways to make alternate immediate means for expenses, or stick to a 9 to 5 till secure coming from small area music wise. I mean, yeah, you can go sell your beats, you can go do the royalty free thing, and of course you can do all these things on, I guess, as an addition to what you're doing in the TV film world. But I just don't think you're going to see the massive results that you want. And if you're going to spend all, I don't believe in the sort of like what a lot of artists do is they do 10 different things at once, and well, one of them is going to blow up. But what are you doing when you spread yourself that thin? Like, you're not really doing anything that well. You're just doing everything kind of half-assed. So I think you just got to sort of make that choice and say, is it TV film that I want to really do? Or is it, selling beats? Or is it, royalty free? And kind of just choose one of them. The only exception I make for that is if you go 100% with TV film, maybe you get some rejected tracks that don't make it into the libraries. You might feed some of those into a royalty-free site or maybe a beat site. That could be your sort of secondary option to make at least some money off of it. It's better than it sitting on your hard drive, right? But I don't believe in the sort of I can go in 8 different directions at once and I'll succeed. I think you really got to sort of dig in. You got to make that commitment and dig in. Sorry, guys, just reading through the comments and questions. Some of these I've definitely addressed before, so I don't want to do a bunch of repeat ones. Okay, so Brian, how many libraries are you working with regularly, and how many libraries in SyncEdge are you personally working with? So I personally, these days, I'm basically working with 2, sometimes a third one that'll come in here and there. And I don't work with the libraries that are in SyncEdge. Those are not ones that are coming from my personal relationships. And why? Well, sorry to be the spoiler here, but I am not in the business of putting myself out of business, okay? So I don't want to go, hey guys, you want to come be my competition on my libraries that I work with? Like, here, all, whatever, 200 of you, come on in, right? I would be kind of committing career suicide, so I hope you guys understand that. That's not what I do in SyncEdge. So those are coming from my music library directory, which have been researched and vetted. And I do have a lot of customers and students that let me know about what's happening with a lot of these libraries in terms of their placements and what's happening. So a lot of the libraries that you guys get in SyncEdge come from those emails and those interactions that I get. So you're getting kind of some like inside information. Obviously, I don't share details of the student or what they said or whatever. But if I'm feeling like, hey, this is a really solid company and they're doing some really good stuff, they're going to go into SyncEdge. Michael, the whole thing about web content, that's also another video that I'm adding to the list, so I'll definitely do some more explanation on that in the future for sure. It's a really good question, though, because it's definitely coming up in this business. Dane, if you were to choose one genre which had the most lucrative opportunities for a single song to get placements, just one, what would it be? Get the most placements? Probably EDM pop. I mean, I'm just racking my brain. I mean, rock, it's just so hard because rock gets a lot of placements. Hip hop gets tons of placements. EDM pop seems to like cross between many different styles of shows, between promos, news, reality. There's a lot of stuff. So that EDM world right now is very, very big. But that'd be an interesting study for somebody to do to find out which genres are actually getting the most placements. Oh, gotcha, Michael. Yeah, you're talking about just chopping stuff up. Yeah. All right. Martin, in TuneSat, the free version I can add and take out as you go. Keep track of specific songs, or is it all in until you hit 50 and then have to pay for it? Yeah. So TuneSat, how it works is you can upload up to 50 tracks, and anything above 50 you got to start paying their premium service for. So basically, yeah, you got your 50 tracks to see if they get placements. You can replace those 50 tracks with another 50, but usually that's not kind of what you want to do because you want to see if those 50 get placed, right? And once you take them out, you're not going to be able to see that. So. Official drama, welcome. Talked about exclusive and non-exclusive stuff. There's a lot of videos on my channel. Definitely do a search. You'll find some stuff on those. My voice is giving it on me a little bit. A couple more minutes, guys, and then I gotta go. Yes, Delante is talking about getting paid after you get a placement. Yes, that's also in my free course, syncmymusic.com, or you can go to syncmymusic.com/free course if you want to go directly to it. But just syncmymusic.com, you'll get right to the free course that'll teach you about getting those royalties paid to you and the whole process for it. Jermaine says, I got to sit down and study this licensing thing. Yeah, it's not rocket science, but it's definitely something that a lot of people don't understand. So you guys are miles ahead, though. The fact that I hope you guys are all subscribed. Please do, if you haven't already, leave a like on this. I did a thumbs down, but please do a thumbs up, like on this video. That really helps me out. Helps other people find the channel too, which is really cool. But you guys are miles ahead of where I was when I started out in this business 10 years ago, 11 years ago. I didn't have any of this kind of stuff. So the fact that you guys even have resources like this and you can ask these questions, like, you guys are in a much better spot for sure. De Niro, I've talked about that in other videos about submitting the music. Actually, what you should do is check out my video. It was called Which Genre Should You Select, or Which Genre Should You Produce? I have a whole tutorial about deciding which style of music you should go with. And I include that whole consideration about what libraries want. Greg, am I playing in a band currently? No band right now. Do you do any of the writing? Your tracks sound great, and I was wondering if a lot of it spills into performing. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, obviously I produce my own tracks, that kind of thing. But no, I had bands years ago. No, I haven't had a band now in many, many years. I've done a couple of projects here and there where I've jammed with people and recorded some stuff, but nothing serious, nothing where I'm like gigging. I'm not really interested in doing that right now. I think the only thing that would be fun for me right now is starting a cover band, and believe it or not, just playing local places. And actually, even though we wouldn't be making tons of money, but it would be cool to actually just have a gig where I made more money than I paid. Because in my experience being in a band, I was always broke. I was always losing money, paying promoters and paying to go play places and paying for parking, especially in LA. So it'd be kind of cool just to go play cover songs that people like and people will be dancing and having fun to, and then making a little bit of money at the end of the night. That would be the only thing that I would probably be somewhat interested at this point. But right now, nah, I'm cool with just producing music the way I'm doing it. All right. Jack, it's an interesting question. He's saying, how many beats per week should I be submitting per week or month to make 10,000 every royalty period, which would be quarterly, so that's 40 grand a year. Right now I'm making about 1,500, not enough to live off of. Yeah, you're on your way though, man. I mean, I know it's like, I wish it was more, but you're making $1,500 more than most producers that are doing music, okay? So don't discount that as like nothing. I know you don't, but that's a really good starting point. It's not about how many beats per week or tracks per week that you make. I do recommend you shoot for a minimum of 2 to 3. That at least keeps your catalog numbers growing consistently. But you can crank out 1,000 tracks a week. If they all are terrible and not licensable, who cares? It doesn't matter how many tracks really you have out there. It matters, are they licensable? Are they high quality? And are you partnering with libraries that are actively getting you placements? If you got those two things, even maybe just 1 track a week is a good spot to be in, right? I think increase it. I think 2 or 3 is better. So it's not about the numbers. It's really about the quality of tracks you have and the quality of placements, and sometimes the quantity also of placements that you get, which is why I've started Sync Academy and Sync Edge. Those two services basically directly serve those two needs, right? How do you make high quality licensable music with Sync Academy? Who do you send your music to? How do you make sure you're submitting the right kind of music and the best kind of a pitch? That's Sync Edge. That's why I've created both of those. Awesome. Well, that's about it, guys. I'm going to log off now. My voice is getting a little bit scratchy. I got to learn how to talk properly. It's like every time I talk, I feel like I'm yelling. I think I can just calm it down a little bit, quiet it down. I got to learn how to do that. I probably could last in these things a lot longer. So it's one of my challenges. Maybe this year I got to get better at that. Is kind of talking a more calmer voice, because I think for some reason I feel like when there's a microphone in front of me, even though, you guys are obviously here on the internet, I don't have to yell at all of you. And I don't know why I feel like I have to do that. And I think that's why my voice always goes at the end of these streams. So I'm going to work on that so I can kind of stick around longer. But hey, we made it basically about an hour, so not bad for me, right? I usually about 30 minutes in, I start to kind of feel that. But today wasn't that bad. So thank you guys so much. Really good information. You guys gave me a couple of ideas for some videos I'm going to do for my channel coming up. So keep it coming. This is why I love doing these live streams and why I love your guys' interaction and your participation. So thank you. Now, with that all said, turn this off, go away, or look for those other videos. If I mentioned those videos in my channel, go ahead and look those up. But immediately after that, go make music, right? Saturday, it's Sunday. Most of you guys have today and tomorrow off. Hopefully a lot of you guys get some time off. Go make music. That's what you guys should be doing. That's what your focus should be. So I wish you guys the best today, and we'll talk soon. I'll have some great new content for you guys Monday morning. And again, leave a like, please, before you go. Click that like button if you haven't done it yet.